gonna use that part there. Yeah, cool. I'm gonna that. Let's use the snare. Cool. Yo, what's up? I'm Doc, of course. I'm one of the Sample Kings and those behind the camera. Well, of course, this is our second video called The Next Level. The MPC 4000 Next Level video. You gotta buy it. Hey, you got it. This is it. We're gonna teach you a lot of stuff today. We're gonna show you about time stretching. We're gonna show you about how to get your beat so it's bump a little bit, how I can sync back and forth between 1/32nd note or a 16th note. How to use triplets. How to quantize, and when recording a keyboard player, we want to make sure we have the proper MIDI information being recorded into our MPC 4000. It's a hot video. I can talk all day, and you know I can, but I'm going to get back to getting busy. We'll take it in a minute. Guys, cut the camera. Man, I'm going to get this thing really hot. I got this sample, fellas. Let's check this out. This is kind of cool. You can see just a little background. Oh, hear more going on now. Hear that? I didn't even hear a beat. Watch this. Oh, there's a beat somewhere. See, higher pitch, double pole. Ooh, nice. Hear the beat now, look at that. I filtered out the beat. I filtered out the low frequencies and got the highs. Sometimes with a sample, you might want to do that. It's kind of funky, it's the way to go. We can change the LFO. Way to go, LFO. I have rhymes, amazing. Hey, forget about me. Let's show you. That's kind of fun. Wow. We've got a sound here. I kind of really like this sound a lot. But what I want to do is I probably want to get rid of the beat from the background. I'm going to use the MPC 4000 to affect this sound, to use some filters, and to give the kind of flavor I want to give it before I use it in my track. First thing we want to do is we want to go to our program list. Now here in program list, I want to select the sound and where it's at. As you can see, we can move our cursor up and down, and we're here at demo. Next, we want to go to KG mix, which is our key group mix. And here, as you can see, once you hit the pad, we're right there. And that note is D flat 1, and we're at N loop. You can see it right there. Now here, we can adjust the level, the dB. We can raise it up or down. We can also adjust the panning, whether right or left. We can adjust the output. And of course, we can adjust our effect level, dB-wise. Right. We want to set it to 0 for our demonstration today. And we have our send. We're going to send our effect to. We're going to send it to A. Next, we want to go to... Okay, now let's go to our Edit 1 window. Now here, on the top block, we have our program. And we have a curve we can set to linear or log. Of course, it's the type that the program is. And here is the level of everything in that program. We can also set the tuning of every sound in the program. Let's change the tuning. Everything in that program, as you can see, as the sounds come up here, as we keep hitting the pad, it affects all the sounds in this program with this tuning. That means you can tune everything in the program. That's really cool. Now here, on our second block, we have the pitch, which is D1, and you have the edit 1, zone 1, and the actual sound we're going to use. We can also change the pitch. Now here, this changed the pitch of the actual sound. See, that sound changes, but nothing else in the program will change. Next, we'll go to our filter section. This is really cool. We have a choice of a whole lot of filters here. We're going to flip through them here. You can see 4-pole, 8-pole, 1-pole, high pass plus, 2-pole high pass. We've got notch, 2, 3, notch wide, bi-notch. These are all different filters that you can use to affect the sound. We'll hit the pad so you can hear several of the filters and get an idea of what we're talking about. See, that cut the bass out and gave us the really high end of this harpsichordy sound. Well, that's really high end. Here's a low high. That's kind of freaky cool, right? Low high. Here's a low bandwidth. Here's a band high. Here's a notch 1. It's a notch 2. So see, we're affecting the sound with this filter. And the filter sort of adjusts the sound for us. Now we're going to pick a sound, or a filter rather, that's going to help us to adjust the sound, because I really don't want the drums, and I already have a drum beat already made up. I want to get this little harpsichord sound within the rhythm. So we'll hit the pad. I like that. Now I want to maybe add a little more of that bass into it. So we're going to change our cutoff frequency. See what happened there? By using our cutoff frequency, we brought back in some of the bass. This was at 100 before. Now it's at 85. We brought back some of the little more bassy sound of the actual sound without bringing the drums in. Now below that we have resonance. Now resonance sort of adds a little higher end, ringy, whiny type sound to me. See that? Now if you leave that there at 20, and we go down here to our attenuation, and turn it up, it'll sort of lower it from outputting too much. So our attenuation works in conjunction with our resonance. But for our demonstration, we only want it to be 0. We don't need to have all that on there. Just for reference for you. Now here, the other half of our filter section, this section right here, you can adjust the certain reference levels here for our attack, sustain, decay, release. And it'll affect this little diagram you see here. See that? Moving here, we're changing the attack, the decay, the sustain, and release. That's a release going up. The release going up, release is way up, release is down now. You have to learn how to adjust it to the setting you would like to use for your particular production. In our case, we want to use the setting we have here right now. Now below our filter section, in our filter block section of this edit 1, we have the amplification section. Here we can amplify the sound, the level of this sound right here, the end loop. I can get it louder now, or even lower. See that? So we can adjust that particular sound right here in our edit section. We can also set the out to multi, or left and right, or 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, and 7 and 8. Obviously, stereo. We can also use an effect along with this filter. This is really cool. I like this part here. This is funky. We can have the effect sent to, let's say, A. We can set our send level, which we have at 0. Now, watch this. We're going to go into effects. We have an effect picked out. For our send A, we have a delay mono setting. We're going to press edit. And see here, I've already chosen 333 milliseconds as my delay setting. I got a feedback of 30 and a high frequency damp of 20 kilohertz. Of course, my pan is midway because I want to hear the sound bounce back and forth. Great. Next, we'll go back to our main screen and we'll play the sound. Hear the echo? See it bouncing back and forth. The echo is going back and forth. I like that. That gives a little effect for me to have in the background of this sound. Now I'll play the beat along with that sound. And I've got a beat going along with this great, cool sound now that no longer has a drum beat behind it. Now this is how you can use your MPC 4000 to filter and affect the sound to give it your flavor that you want to give it. We're going to show you Edit 2. We're going to use our low frequency oscillation. And here we go. We have here in this block our low frequency oscillation. The top two blocks remain the same. But here we can adjust these LFOs. We can do sine, square, saw. We got saw down. We got random. Oh, we got so much stuff here. It's so cool. We can do the depth, the rate, and the delay, which is really funky. So now, first what we must do, we must assign something to this LFO. We got to press Window. Now here in Window, we have LFO 1, as you can see there. We need to assign it to a particular destination. We can use amplitude, pan, pitch, LFO rate 1, depth. We can assign it to phasing, offset, rate 2 for LFO. We can assign it to almost any parameter we want to. This gets even more complicated later on. But the real idea here is to show you how it works so you can apply it to the use of whatever you're doing for your music. And it's important also here in this section to go to depth. If it remains to be 0, you won't hear how the LFO is being affected in amplitude. This has to be either plus or minus. In our case, we're going to make it plus 100. So you hear the effect even better. We'll close this window. And now we're going to set a depth and use triangle. I'll hit the pad. Okay, now we want to pick a rate. Hear that effect? Instead of going in and out, it's changing the amplitude, and this rate, as we increase the rate, the faster it becomes. Hear that? A little cool like effect, almost like a DJ, you know, moving that little volume fader up and down real fast. That's really cool. We can even add delay to that effect. That's just really funky. And just delay the effect behind the effect. Now, we did that with this LFO. We'll do the second LFO, which are low frequency oscillation 2. We'll go back to our open window, and we're going to assign this LFO here. Instead of being amplification, we may want to go to pan. So that effect will be panning back and forth. We want to set our depth over here also, which you can see, which is 100 already. Now we'll close that window, and we're going to affect LFO 2, and we can use our depth. Now we're using 100 so you can hear how the depth sounds. It's really accurate. This way you can actually know what's going on. But you should always try to adjust it to how you feel it should sound and what kind of flavor you want to add to your track. Now you have a rate also. Well, now we'll hit the pad. Now it's going back and forth in the speakers. It's panning back and forth. That's very heavy affected now. And we're doing this so you can get an idea of how to use both these LFOs to make that particular sample sound have a different flavor. Now here in zone, these parameters remain the same in our edit window. But here we can pick a sound and put in the zone. We have a particular sound here we like. That's a hi-hat we got there. That's really cool. And we have the level, we got the panning and the mult, which comes out, and here we got a range. The range has to do with how hard you hit the sound. The range and whether we change it or not. It means you hit the sound, it's going to hit all the way to the top end. See that? We hit it real hard, and that's our sound. Well, we want to make it do two different things. I want to have hit the sound when I hit the pad soft, and I hit the pad hard, I want to have a different sound. So here, I want to put maybe like an open hi-hat, a little bit more of like an 808 hi-hat that goes there. And I think that one there might be it. Aha, an open hi-hat. Now we're hitting both of them at the same time. You're hearing both of them. I know you don't hear that, but watch this. We're going to change the range of these sounds. We'll make the first sound go from 0 to 75. And we'll make the next sound go from 76 to 127. And now. So if I hit the pad hard, I'm going to get this open hi-hat sound. If I hit it soft between 0 and 75, I get the regular hi-hat sound. This is really cool with hi-hats. That way, when you hit your hi-hats, you can change the sound by the way you hit the pad. This can also be done for kick drums. You can take a kick drum. And here we've already done it for you. We've got a sub kick and we've got a low sub kick. We're going to take the first kick and make this one go from 0 to 75 again. We'll take the one below that and go from 76 to 127. And now, when we hit the kick, hit it soft, one sound, we have two different sounds. And what you can actually also do, you can keep this at 0 to 127, keep this the same way, and use both kicks at the same time to make your kick stronger. If your kick sounds a little weak and you want to bump that kick up, you can actually combine kicks to make your own kick drum sounds. This is really cool. Now the lower half here, we can affect each one of these zones. Like this is the zone for this kick. We can change the tuning of this kick here. We can change the constant of this thing, of this actual sub kick. We can actually change whether it's a one shot or a loop. If I had a loop, they can change that. We can change each zone and the effect for each zone, like as you can see here. You must adjust, check it out, and experiment with your MPC 4000 to give it that flavor, like I said before, that you want to have. Hanging out, still trying to get the beat right. Well look, we're going to do something new. We're going to use the Qlink section. This is the newest thing they made, this whole thing with the knobs and the faders. You can use this to make your sounds sound a little funky, a little more flavor, a little more of this. Use them to actually touch parameters and turn parameters. I'm talking a lot. Check it out. This is what you're going to do. You understand? With the Sample Kings. We're going to hit the track now. Play the sequence. We got a beat. We got our harpsichord sound. And now we're going to add a little effect to it using our Qlink section. First, I'm going to hit setup. Now here in setup, we've got to have our cursor right here on multi. We're using multi 1. Now here also you can see each one of these knobs corresponds to 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the two faders, 5 and 6, are right here. I'll move them up and you can see them move right there. That's cool. Now below multi, we have this Qlink 1 section. The first part here is called part. We can affect all the parts, that means everything for all the parts, or just one, or part 2, or part 3, or 4, and so on. Now below that part, we have assign. Now here we can actually assign a parameter, like amplitude, which means volume. We can pan it back and forth. We can change the pitch. We can also change the LFO rate of 1, LFO 1, 2, 3, phase, the biphase. We can change everything. Look at these parameters. This is amazing. It's a great machine. You can change so many different parameters in our assign. Back to off. Now below that we have type. We can replace or offset. This has to do with the way we turn our knob. Read more in your manual to understand this properly. Now here we have a range. We can select the range from -100 to a +100. That means we can take this knob and bring it down here to the bottom here like this, and we're going to be at, wow, -100 from where we were before, or +100 from where we were before. So you have to make sure you understand where you are in your sequence, and in that particular sound, how far you want to actually affect the range of that sound. Below here we have control. Now as of the date of us doing this tape, control has yet to be assigned a particular parameter by Akai. We suggest you go to the website or get a new manual, if they have a new manual out on it, and check it out. For this video, we're using 1.4. That's the operation we're using. The system operation. Well, the system, well, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. Next, we have MIDI right below here, which is MIDI 1, A. Now we have to go up here to part. If you turn part, you'll see this changes. 2, 3, see that? It's changing. As we change the part, we can change the MIDI channel. If you have a MIDI channel assigned here to a particular instrument, you can change the effect to that instrument. It's really cool. And the same thing happens also here for the fader. The only difference here is there's a fader here and a knob here. Well, now we're going to try and affect the sound, probably the harpsichord sound, and do something to it. We're going to set a part first, which is part 1. We're going to assign a parameter. We're going to use pitch. And then I want to assign a range. I don't want to get to go all the way down and go really low, and I want to get a real short range. I want to use like -5. I'm going to turn my jog wheel to -5, and then I'm going to go to +5. So I want to get a short range, not too big a range. So I can change this pitch within this particular range. Next, I go back to main screen. Yeah. And I want to make sure what track I want to record this to. I want to put a blank track right there, track 8. Next, I go back to setup, and I want to like press play and see. See me change the knob here? So my range is just about right where I want it. So I can change the pitch of that particular sound. I put it back up and down the middle. It's the pitch that I naturally had it at. Okay, now we're going to record this data onto this particular track. We're going to press main screen. We're going to press active, which is the button right below the Q1 knob. The light comes on green. We're going to press record and play, get our metronome going, and turn the wheel. See, it's recorded right there in the sequence. It's recorded right here in sequence 8. And I can actually mute that sequence, mute what I just did by pressing the mute button here, and it's back to normal. So record that data on this particular track. That's really cool. Well, now we can do it to another instrument. We're going to maybe change the volume of a different instrument. We're going to press setup, and next thing we're going to do is pick the, let's see, Qlink 5. We'll select the part, and we're going to assign amplitude so we can control the volume of that particular sound. That's really cool. We're going to probably activate that button below it. It says active on Qlink 5, where the fader's at, right below the fader. We're going to press main screen, and we're going to pick a new track to record new data to. But first, I want to turn up the other track first. I want to turn the volume off first on the track 8. Let's mute track 8 first. And the mute is on. See? We're going to mute what we just did, so we don't get too confused. Now we're going to go to track 9. And on track 9, we're going to record this new amplitude data for the drum sound. We're going to press record and play. See the drums come in and out? Perfect. Now I can actually mute this I just did, mute it. See the drums play straight through the whole track. So what we did here is that we recorded that data from the Qlink section onto that particular track you want to use. Okay, now we're going to use the Qlink section to affect our sounds, but this time using note values. First, we're going to go to setup, and we're going to use our fader this time, and we're going to assign it to an actual part. We're assigned to part 1. We're going to assign amplitude. Next, we're going to press Qlink sequence. Now here in sequence, we can either have knobs or we can use the faders, or sliders as it says here. Well, I want to use Qlink 5. First one is probably activate Qlink 5. I'll put Qlink 5 on by pressing F5. Good. And then next, what I want to probably do is set up the sequence. I'm using sequence 1, as you can see right there, it says loop. And below that I have a step. Now the step sets up my note value and how it affects here from 1 to 16. In this case, I'm going to use eighth notes. Great. Now we're at 1. I'm going to move the slider up, and that volume's going to be that high. I'll move it over now to 3. I want 3 to be high. Move it to 5, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, and 15. So you have an alternating up and down, up and down, up and down. Next, we're going to go back to main screen. We're going to activate our Qlink sequence by pressing the button. And we're going to press play. See it go in and out? Now we can actually go back to Qlink sequence and we can change this eighth note. Watch this. So it's up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. See that? That's like a DJ there, right there. That's like 1/30 seconds. That's really, really cool. We can even change the parameter while it's still playing. We'll press setup again. We can change some amplitude. We can go to tuning if we want to. Ooh, that's ill. That's the tuning, see that? And that has to do the same with the sequence. It's just affecting it in the same way. And we can do panning. And that's how it works. Okay, this section is all about taking one sound like this and slowing it down but keeping the same pitch. See, it's the same pitch, just slower. That's even slower, but it's the same pitch, I think, and snare. Otherwise, if I did this and used tuning, see the pitch, it changed. It's slower and it changed. This is about time compression. Now watch this. As you can see right there. First, we're going to move our cursor here with the cursor to end and change it to beat. Now as you can see here, it defaults automatically to 120. We want to get it to be 8 beats. Now play the sample, see how long the sample is we want to get. 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, stop. Okay, that's 8 beats. Now as you can see here it says 10, that's wrong. Now first we're going to do is we're going to change this parameter right here. And we're going to move the cursor back over to beat. See how that changed there? It became 9.73. We want to be 8 beats, so this is wrong. Let's do it again. And you keep going back and forth, and you click on beat again to see if you're at the right amount of beats. See that? We're getting closer now. There we are. We're now at 8 beats right there. Our tempo for this loop is 91.2. Okay, look, we've got our BPMs right here. We believe it's 91.2. We're close. We're not 8 beats within that period of time for this tempo. We're going to now go to region. We'll press region. And next we want to edit. We're going to BPM. And as you can see here, we've got a tempo of 91.1. So as you can see, the MPC suggests us to do a 91.2. As you can see, and it claims that this is going to be the best for this particular loop. Our new tempo will set here in new tempo. Now as you can see here, these are the examples of time stretch, but there's no pitch change, as we said earlier. Now here we have a preset of percussion A. We can also go to, let's move the cursor down there. We can also go to percussion B and C. Now C is the best possible way that we can do it It may take more time to actually edit that sample and to shrink it down, but it's the best possible situation. A is the fastest, and B is in between either one of them. Read your manual to know what's going to go in. Read your manual to be sure of what I'm talking about. Okay, let's time compress that. Hold on, wait a minute, we've got adjust here. We also have adjust. Here we can adjust for a little variance, to get a little bit plus or minus into how much you want to actually adjust our sample, upward or downward. In this case, we'll leave it at 0. Okay, let's do it. And now we're processing that sample to become a new time-stretched sample. This is very cool when you want to take a beat and slow it down, but keep the same pitch. Let's play that sample right now. I like that sample. I may want a little faster. So instead of using a BPM, we're going to use edit and go to our time stretch mode. See that? We're normalized. We turn the cursor dial and we're in time stretch. We want to take this sample and sort of make it faster a little bit. Here we go. We go to amount. We're going to set it to 50. We're going to set our vocal to vocal A. Now A is a faster time for the PCU to use it. Now A helps us to get the sample faster, but it's not the most accurate time stretch. B is a little faster, and C is the best possible time stretch, but it takes longer to actually make this actual file. For our purposes right now, we're going to use A. We'll press do it. See, it's processing pretty fast. If we use C, we'd have been here for a few minutes. Let's play it. Hear that? Hear it again? That's shorter than what it was. The same pitch, though. That means we could be in the same key as we were before, except it's faster. Play the original sample now. See, you can either time stretch using BPMs or time stretch using percentage. Some stuff on my beats you don't know about, son. We're gonna mix some stuff up for our own flavors. We're gonna take a beat, a sample from here, a vocal from here, a bass kick from this record. We're gonna get a horn from over here and a guitar. We're gonna make up a little track, a little something like, something you can dance to, something you can listen to. We're gonna show you how we do it and how the pros do it. That sounds pretty cool. I'm gonna do this here. I'm gonna run a little pattern here. I'm gonna set myself up on a brand new track. I'm gonna do a beat here. I'm trying to get this beat going so that really I can make it rock. Press record and play. Okay, that's cool. My tempo's like 90.9. I want to put a snare drum there. I'm going to pull the overdub off here so I can start to record something. I'm going to do like a hi-hat first. So bang the hi-hat. Get right here. Overdub. Erase this part right here. So I'm pressing erase and erase this pad I want to use right now. Start over again. Pretty cool, right? Try no repeat for this demonstration. Here's my note repeat here. Repeat my note. My quantized value is set at 1/16. Next, we'll start to do right here. I want to add some more stuff to this pattern. This is gonna be cool. Yeah. That's a loop I've got from a record, and I've got like a harpsichord there with a drum pattern. Boop, boop, boop. I'm gonna try and cut the drum pattern back a little. I'm I'm gonna try and filter that sample. First thing I want to do is I want to press program, and I'm making sure here for my list that I'm in the program I want to actually be in, which is my demo in this case. Next I'll press key group, hit the sample I want, and I'll press edit 1. Here in edit 1, I can actually change the pitch of the sample, as we saw earlier. But now I'll put the right pitch I want to have it at here. I'm making it 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. And what I want to do here is pretty much just take this sample and sort of EQ out the bass. I'm going to go to this filter section, and here in the filter section, I can change some of the sounds. See that? I'm changing, I'm sort of filtering the sample around. So little sounds missing, not so heavy. I've got a sound I like I can mess with here. I can take that same sound, as you saw earlier in our tape, I took the sound, made the right tempo I wanted to have it at. I know the loop speed is. Go back to edit window. I can put it right here in the first beat of this 2-bar phrase. It appears here as the first beat, the first step on this track. Go back to main screen. I'm going to play this. I'll put this harp in there. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so I'm going to put this harp back in here now. Yeah. I want this one right here, yep. I took some samples and chopped them up the way I want to use them, of course. I can use a bass, for example. Got a keyboard over here. There's a keyboard on this side. So the pan this way, please, Ernest. Pan this way. So it's a keyboard. It's a keyboard, right? I can go back down here. I've got these sounds that are already in the MPC. These sounds are from general MIDI. I put them in part 6 here. That's a bass sound I want to use. Make a bass line for this thing. I'm going to press like play. Pattern, press record, play, 2, 3, 4. So I put a little pattern in. And play, start. Okay, I'll make a beat up real quick, sort of a hip-hop type style beat. I've got my drum going on here, a different actually pattern, but the same sort of sequence type pattern. You got that there? I got a bass sample here. Now watch this. Play record. So I'm using this bass sound here to actually ride the beat. My next sound, I got like a fuzz guitar here. That's really cool. I like that. I got a vocal here too. I can also add in a horn. That's a shovel. We're going to erase that actually. These tracks going here is kind of cool. I can like remix that same beat around. I'm gonna mute those tracks right now that we just added. We're gonna mute this guitar here next. I'm gonna go to track mute. And here in track mute, I can pick whatever pad I want, which matches the track. I can pretty much just put the vocal back on, turn the bass off. I can put the other keyboard on. I can go back to, let's say, this on the track. See? I can switch to my mixes also. Drums, vocals. Horn. I'll take it up again now. Turn the fuzz off, turn the bass off, bring back the harpsichord. Turn these tracks off here. So I'm sort of mixing the tracks that I have from two different ideas together by turning one track off and the next track off. That's how you can sort of mix your stuff in to get a really good idea of how your music's going to sound for different flavors. I like that. Let's see. Guitar. I want to add some keyboards. We need a keyboard player. We're going to get the Triton to be MIDI'd up with the MPC. We'll get a MIDI cable out of here, into here, to record MIDI data. Then out of here, back in here, to trigger the sounds. Yeah, that'd be cool. Let's get a keyboard player. Now first, we want to plug a MIDI cable to our MIDI in input on our MPC 4000. Next, I want to send a MIDI out from MIDI out of A. Cable right there in A. Okay, now let's go to our Triton. Next, we're going to plug a MIDI in cable, which is connected to the MIDI out of the MPC 4000. The MIDI out of the MPC 4000 will now go into the input of the Triton keyboard, or the keyboard you have at home. Next, I want to get the output of my Triton to go into my MPC 4000. This way I can record MIDI information into my MPC 4000. We're going to make a beat up right now. I'm going to pound the beat out on my MPC 4000. I'm going to put on a specific track in my sequence. I have a track, I got track one, I got this beat going on. I'm using my Timbo set from one of our Sample Kings MPC 4000 CDs. I'm going to add some stuff. Okay, it's not bad. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I like that. Little guitar. A little acoustic guitar, that sounds good. record that one in. Let's record first and bend on the mod wheel. Good. Up and down, sit up and down. Go down now. Okay, let's try to record some of this track. Don't play, just use the mod wheel as we hear back the track, alright? I'll press solo, I'm gonna press play. I'm gonna record that. I'm gonna press overdub, play start. Here we go. Great. Let's hear with the track. You like that? Okay, I want to save this beat here. A little level. So I like my beat, I want to save it. Here's how I do it. I'm going to press save. Next I'll press utility, which is F2. I'll move my cursor up to where it says memory to CD. Now see, normally when it starts out, you may be in delete, but in utility we can go delete, white volume, quick format, full format, and memory to CD. And once we get there, we want to make sure that we're going to save our sequence data. Now here we have a selection. We can save sequence type. We can save all sequences in songs. That means every sequence in song in our MPC 4000, or we can save just the sequences if we'd like to. In this case, I just want to save the sequences. We can pick our type, and we have our type. Now if you want to save all, you go to all, you go to file name, and you turn the cursor, and you could name the entire file. See that? You can name that file. I'm going to cancel out of this. And now, we're going to go here where it says blank CD, the lower half. And here in mode, we can test the burn and write. That means we can practice the test, make sure it's going to burn properly, and then write the CD. Or we can do a test only, just to test to see if this CD can be written. And we can also write only. I'm going to do write only for now. We can also adjust the write speed of our CD. See, our burner can be adjusted to 8 times, 16, and 4. We'll leave it at 4. You can also name the disk in this section. See where it says MPC backup? We can change that name. I'm going to make it say just MPC 4000. That way I'll know what disc it is. Press enter. And right here, see this number here? It's a date. This is actually 2003, the 4th month, the 18th date. So it's real cool. You can save your files according to date if you'd like to. Or you can go here, turn the dial, and name that folder. Where it says new disk name, I've named it MPC 4000 Next Level. And the folder is MPC 4K NL. Now, I'll press do it to burn my CD. Now, it just built a directory so it can find out how much data we have. Here we have used memory is 16.6 megabytes. That's how much memory has been used already in my MPC 4000, and that's how much I plan to record to the CD. The free space on the CD is 702 megabytes. That's 702 megabytes. We're going to save whatever multis we have here. It saves the programs. You see the amount of samples and the number of sequences. And do it will save the data. Let's do it. And now we're saving our data. Now the first thing you want to do is get a USB cable. Connect your USB cable to your keyboard or your free open USB port. Now we got a USB cable. We're going to plug this in into our MPC in the USB port, which is right there. Let's open the file up. And we have Akai Sys 2.53. Open that. Then the installer. Continue. Of course, agree. But you must read it. Yes. Now it says here that it might have to restart the Macintosh once the software is loaded. So we want to do that, of course. And now we're loading in. Great. We're going to restart. Once you have the Akai Sys on your desktop, you need to open it. Click on the Akai Sys application. It'll open. It says Akai Sys could not find any S5 or 6000 samplers. Press OK. Click there. As you can see, it recognizes your sampler. We click on multis, and the multi that I have in memory is multi 1. We double click on multi 1, and here we have faders and sends and outputs and inputs to work our MPC 4000. Except with software this time. We have fader levels, as you can see in the middle of our screen. We have solo. We can mute that particular sound. We can even pan it back and forth in a stereo mix. We can set our outputs with a stereo or mono. We can also turn effects on and send them to A through D or A, B, C, D stereo. Those are sends for the effects. And we can control those effect sends with the green knobs there. Exactly. That's really cool. Above that we can fine tune and adjust our parameters. We also have a MIDI section. Wow, look at that. Out of any MIDI output you want to send it to, 32 altogether. Post programming. And you can change the MIDI priority note. This is really cool here. That's amazing. Click on programs. Next, we can pick a program we want to use. Either one. Here in the top part of our menu, this affects the entire system, the entire program. We can affect the tuning, we can transpose, we can do the output, we can pitch bend, up and down, and aftertouch. We have portamento, glissando, and we have our global parameters there also, as you can see. And the zones. have zones. Below that we have our key group edit window. You see all these keys right there, like a piano. Now right there below we can have our zones for our individual samples. We can click on that sample 1, we can go to assign and pick a sample. The sample loads. And you can see it appear in zones, in 1. We can change the level, the panning. So it's just like our regular MPC 4000, except now we're able to control these parameters with a mouse. We can control filter key group, as you can see here. We can select our filter type, which is really cool. Cutoff frequency, the resonance, and you can see the attenuation right there at the bottom. And we also have this key group section. We can affect the levels, the send, and we can also affect the FX level, whether the output's multi, off, or A, B, C, or D, or a combination of A and B and C and D. Yep, we have envelopes also. We have amplitude, we can use filter, and we have an auxiliary. We can do LFOs, LFO 1, and LFO 2. We can shift. We can change the phase, the depth, the rate, and delay. And we also have modulation. Here we can assign, for example, an effect and assign its destination. Like we can have the velocity affecting the cutoff, or velocity affecting the pitch also, as you can see here. We can change that to anything we like to in our list of parameters that we can actually affect. And here we're going to use LFO 1, and we can designate LFO 1 to affect amplitude. Now, if we want to edit our samples and transfer them maybe onto our computer desktop to use a different editor, we open up samples, we'll pick the sample we want to edit, we'll use our mouse, we'll hold down on it, and we get the menu, and it says save to Mac. So we're going to save to our desktop. We pick the file, the folder we want to save it into rather. Here's the folder. We choose it. And now that sample appears as a QuickTime file here in our folder, but it's the same sample. Let's say you got another software you want to use. You grab the icon to the MIDI file, you drag it to your destination folder. Drop it in that folder, and then you can open the folder up, and you see it's a MIDI file. Okay, now you can even open your hard drive up, and you have all your sounds there. So everything's on that hard drive. You can see it right there. What's on here, you can take it off. You can store your hard drive onto your computer hard drive to back it up. So if you've got a big hard drive inside your MPC 4000, this is a great way to store your data on some other device. You can even do that with a zip drive. Don't be intimidated by what you see when you bring up the software. These are the same parameters we showed you earlier in the video. But I guarantee you it's much faster and smoother, and you could access your parameters and see how they work much better on a computer monitor. Well, look, thanks again for buying the video. I hope you learned a lot about production and how to use certain facets of our MPC 4000 to make our music come alive. And if you want to learn more in the future, visit our website at samplekings.com and join the online school. It's pretty cheap. We've got a lot of new tricks, reviews on new machines, and how to use certain techniques to make your MPC or any sample you're using sound great in a production. So I'll check you later.